Thank you for that. One more. What kinds of people were famous in Indonesia in the past? 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 100 years ago. What kinds of people were famous in Indonesia in the past? Someone else? Anyone? I just need the content. Okay. Closer to your mouth.
It will be patriot. I want to say this about the heroes because we have many heroes in our city or in Indonesia. For example, I could be say in Surabaya, this hero is Bung Tomo, yeah, because he is to be the hero in the city to take the freedom in the city.
Thank you. And then the next question would be, why were heroes famous in the past? Why were they famous? That was a very good response. She said in the past, the people who were famous were heroes, and she gave a very good response, example about one in the past. So then my question is, why? Why were the heroes all famous in the past?
Because he is a part of the freedom in our country.
Okay, thank you, because he was part of the freedom in our country. Thank you, perfect. And what kinds of people will become famous in Indonesia in the future, do you think? Okay, oh, sorry, let me give you. What kinds of people are going to become famous in the future?
The kind of people that will be famous in Indonesia in the future will be an influencer, because in the next generation, when the next generation have exposed to the technology, they are usually seeing the people in the social media, like the influencers. So the people will be famous in Indonesia in the future are the influencers.
Thank you. Okay, so that was a very good response. He said it will be influencers, and then he gave some reasons why it will be influencers. And then maybe I will say it's a very strange phenomenon. Why is that happening? Or why will that become more common? Because usually they'll fall. So if you give a good response, then they're going to still ask you a question based on what you said. So he said it's going to be influencers, and he explained why. But then my question is, why can such a strange thing happen? Don't you think it's strange? Everybody is following what they see people do online. Do you know what I mean? But maybe that would be the next question. But thank you. And then, is being famous and being admired the same, or is it different? Do you want to do this one?
Well, maybe being famous and being admired can be like, for example, like a famous people can also be admired, but not someone that is admired is famous. You know, like for example, let's say someone is famous, like maybe she said a politician is famous, but not exactly being admired. And I can also be admiring my father, let's say, and he's not famous. So I think there's a difference in that.
Yeah, thank you. Good, okay. Thank you for that. And one more, just a question or two more. Being famous, is it a good thing that famous people are often in the news? Or is it not a good thing? What do you think? Is it good famous people are always in the news?
I think if we say famous people like Queen Elizabeth and Steven Spielberg, then it will be good on the news. But as fact, in Indonesia, there are so many famous people that are not giving a positive impacts to our generations. So I think not all famous people should be put on the news or become viral.
Yeah, I think those are what we call infamous people. Infamous. Famous in a very bad way. So why does the media report everything that those people do? Why does the media do that?
Because I think some of the people, or most, or the majority of the people, like the news about them, or anything that they say to the public, it becomes famous topics.
Thank you. So why does the public like to know what famous people are doing? Don't you think that's very strange? Or maybe it's just a normal thing, you know? But so do you see where I'm going with this? In part three, they will ask you questions like this. Some of them can be rather difficult, but the more difficult the questions you get in part three, usually the higher your score will be. If you get very simple questions in part three, it usually means your score is kind of low. So be prepared. You know, give good responses, and then you'll get good questions, difficult questions in part three. So the better the questions, the harder the questions, and the better your answers or your responses, hopefully the higher the score you'll get. So that's what you're going to have to do in the speaking test. It'll look something like that, but again, it could be on Zoom. We want to move on. I do want to get into the listening test, and there's a couple of exercises in here. The listening test is 30 minutes, and around 30 minutes. And there's 40 questions in 4 sections. And I love the IELTS listening test. It's very easy. If you have English skills, it's very easy. You just listen and write the answer. And you can read the questions before. So it's quite easy, actually. You get 1 question for each mark. There's no penalty for wrong answers. You can use British or American spelling. In the paper test, you write on the paper. In the computer test, you listen and you type your answers directly into the computer. So there's no time to transfer your answers. But in the paper test, you get 10 minutes at the end to transfer. So the paper test, it'll just be a microphone like this. If you do the computer test, you'll be wearing headphones, and then chances are that the other people in the room with you